Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer who lost a horse, ran away. And all the neighbors came around that evening and said, "That's too bad." And the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back and brought 7 wild horses with it. And all the neighbors came around that evening and said, "That's great, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day his son was attempting to tame one of these horses and fell on a rock and broke his leg. So all the neighbors came around in the evening and said, "That's too bad, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day the conscription officers came around looking for people for the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And all the neighbors came around that evening and said, "Well, that's wonderful, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." So the whole point of this story is that the whole process of nature is a very integrated process of immense complexity, and it is really impossible to tell whether anything that happens is good or bad, because you never know the consequences of misfortune, just like you never know the consequences of good fortune. So just like everything else, this story also has a flip side of the coin, is that while the story teaches us about the consequences of seemingly bad or good misfortune, we have to take into account how human attitude actually affects us as well. So what we should do is always have an optimistic approach towards the stuff that happens in our life, because that will give us immense power. There's a huge role to take away relating to the attitude we have towards the events that happen in our life, because the more positive an outlook we have towards the events that happen in our life, the more likely it is that these things will develop in an actual positive way. This is how our attitude affects the things that we perceive and changes them in a sort of way. You looking upon something changes that thing, because when you look at things in a different way, you're going to act according to your circumstances and environment in a different way, and when we do it in a more positive way, the universe will reflect that back upon us. I hope that you have something positive and useful for yourself to take away from all this content. And in future videos we will elaborate on all the topics we mentioned so far, and we are actually going to link them to other realms of science, including philosophy, math, physics, chemistry, history, you name it. I want to create a YouTube channel where we can relate all these things and see how they actually connect to each other in the universe. This relates exactly to the consequences of the good and bad misfortune that we mentioned in this story, because of how complex and integrated nature is. And when we actually explore how philosophy, religion, science and all the other stuff connects, it will help us have a better understanding of the universe itself, and it will help us make better choices, better decisions, create a better society and a better future. Until the next video, peace out. Amir. P.S. Again, if you like this content, please don't hesitate to like, share and subscribe. Bye.